Tales from a Forgotten Realm, number 16, The Wanderer. Tuinn looked at the owl flying above him. It soared in wide arcs, its ivory-coloured feathers glinting in the moonlight. He'd been walking all night, and finally they had left the forest behind. He had found his way to a small track, and from there a larger road. It was on the road he'd met a useful halfling who had pointed him in the direction of the nearest settlement, Neverwinter. The halfling had been going in the opposite direction, but kindly had given Tuinn some of his spare rations to tide him over. Tuinn chewed on the dried meat. It was peppery and spicy. He very much enjoyed it. His stomach growled as it realised how hungry it was. He wondered how long it had been since he'd eaten last. He couldn't remember, obviously, so he gave up trying, and was just thankful that he was eating now. Neverwinter, the halfling had said, was less than a day's journey in a westerly direction by foot. Tuinn thought it was probably a good place as any to start his search. He decided that he only knew of one person who may have answers for him and who he could trust. This Vistra that the owl had told him about. The name brought with it a comfort that only comes from being with friends. It was the only lead he had, so what choice did he have? A bird's eye view of a city entered his mind suddenly, and the owl hooted far above him. It seemed Neverwinter was within grasp. Shortly after the sun started to crest the horizon, he came to the gates of a vast city. The owl had come to rest on his shoulder and looked like it was settling in for a nap. A lone guard walked up to greet Tuinn. The guard's breastplate was rusty and the leathers he wore were very worn. He clutched a long halberd, which he used as a walking stick. As he came closer, Tuinn saw that the man must be at least in his 50s, but he walked with the control of a military man, retired soldier most likely, too old to fight, but young enough to guard a gate.
"Who goes there? What be your business?"
the old guard said with practised efficiency. His accent was rough, not highborn, a peasant before he was a soldier. "Greetings, good sir. It's awful fine to see a military man such as yourself. Thank you for your service, sir." The old guard puffed up his chest a little at the compliment.
"Oh, that's kind of you. Thank you, young man. Sorry, but I do have to ask your name for the records, and your business too, I'm afraid."
Tuinn nodded his head. "And quite right too, sir. It's important to dot the I's in a situation such as this." The old guard nodded.
"Aye, more than this old neck is worth if I don't."
"Hard times, sir. How are things in the city?"
"Hard times indeed. Ever since the damn mountain erupted and half the fucking city fell into the ground. Nasty beasts roam half of this fair city now. The new lord's doing his bit, but you know lords."
Tuinn nodded in agreement. "Aye, more like to do a bit rather than do their bit." The guard grunted.
"Truer words never been spoke. I'll tell you what, just write down your name in the book on the way in, and keep to the north end of the city if you want to live to see the sun set again." Noah held out his hand and shook the guard's free hand strongly. "Thank you, sir. Long life and health to you, friend." The guard waved him past as a merchant's cart pulled up to the gate. "Aye, you too, lad," he said over his shoulder. Tuinn made a show of writing his name in the book, but did not dip the quill in the ink. He glanced over the names from the previous day, and his eyes paused on one name in particular. It was a name he recognised, but not the one he had wanted to see. Alduin, it seemed, had come to Neverwinter.